Have you ever heard of eustress? Many people haven't, so in this video I'll talk about the two main types of stress, eustress and distress, and how they affect you, and the natural coping systems and skills you already have built into your body, which automatically help you to manage your stress well by making holistic, healthy choices. Your stress responses to a situation are determined by the perception that you have of the event you've just experienced, whether good or bad. So if you believe that all stress is bad for you, I'm here to change that. That is wrong thinking, because stress can be good for you. I'd love to connect with you, so please let me know below what areas you have felt stress in before, or what areas you're feeling stressed in now. I'll address some of your concerns in today's video, and later I'll share Fran's facts, my weekly helpful bonus tips, so stay tuned. Welcome to my channel, Resurgam with Fran. Resurgam is a Latin word meaning I shall rise again, and each week I'll draw on my own experiences in law enforcement, disaster relief, emergency management, crisis response, pastoral care, and critical incident stress management to create videos that help you to make highly effective and proven holistic choices that will empower you to regain control of your life in every area, so that you can be in full health and have your own Resurgam experience of rising again from areas in your life, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or behaviorally. To make sure you don't miss any great tips, subscribe below and click the bell so that you're notified when my next video comes out, and be sure to watch the other videos in this series too. If you missed the previous videos, then check them out at Resurgam with Fran so that you can get caught up. Do you know why you react the way you do when you've experienced something so difficult that your stress levels shoot up? Or what about when you experience amazingly happy things that make you feel as if you're on cloud nine and yet you still feel stressed about them? Why is that? We often use the word stress to describe how we feel in negative situations, which lead many people to believe that all stress is bad for you. But that's actually not true. You all know that distress is a response to negative things that upset you. But what do you know about eustress? Eustress is very different. It's a positive stress, and it has the opposite effect on you that distress does in some ways, and in other ways it has the same effect. Every single day, your life is filled with things that tire you out, exhaust you, encourage you, make you happy, or make you annoyed. Your emotions are a roller coaster from the time you wake up until you go to sleep again. And every single moment that you are awake, you are subconsciously analyzing every single bit of information coming to your brain. Your brain then assesses everything in lightning speed, and you don't even know it's happening because it's so automatic. But based on your past experiences, your training, your life skills, your personality, age, gender, and a host of other determining factors, your brain filters everything that you see, hear, do, feel, and experience, and then decides how you should respond. I'll delve into this aspect a little bit later in another video, but for today I want to just lay a foundation for you that we will build upon in the coming weeks, so that you can grasp how well designed you are and how you can control and manage some of your personal responses to stress that you didn't even know about. Every situation that causes a stress response in you is called a stressor. Your stress response is either eustress or distress, based largely on how your brain has filtered the information it's received and then decided how you should respond. Therefore, there are coping skills you can learn that will help you to respond differently, allowing you more control over some of your stress reactions to each stressor. You typically experience distress when bad things happened, because bad things are viewed as negative events, which then cause anxiety or concern in you. The reason why they cause this or cause distress or a negative stress response is usually due to the fact that you feel overwhelmed by them. You believe you can't cope with that situation. Therefore, your brain has already assessed that the situation is a bad one, and it's decided that it has no positive or happy methods with which to manage that event. So therefore, the event is potentially threatening to your homeostasis or to your holistic balance. Recognizing a potential threat, your mind then kicks you into fight or flight mode, causing you to feel uncomfortable and your usual coping skills are unable to mitigate the situation, so your stress levels go up. That's what causes your distress. Your distress can decrease your daily performance. You may procrastinate because you lack the motivation to deal with the stressor and other things in life that you would normally manage fairly well. Distressing things don't feel comfortable. When we're in discomfort, we're wired to always try to escape, because again, it's a threat to your holistic balance. This may then cause you to withdraw socially, to isolate, and can down the line lead to mental and physical problems, such as low immunity diseases and depression or even grief. In contrast, eustress is a stress response to positive things or happy things. But how can happy things stress you out? Your brain still assesses the information it receives and decides that the new stressor is safe. It's good for you, so it reacts differently in that it doesn't raise the danger flag. Therefore, you'll naturally approach that stressor more positively. But even eustress can be stressful. Think of things in your life that have brought you great joy and yet have also been stressful to walk through, such as planning a wedding. That's a very happy time, but it's stressful to get everything arranged on time. Having a vacation is fun and exciting, but it can be stressful getting everybody ready, packed up on time, getting out of the door on time, catching your flights, and everything that goes around that. Promotions at work are very positive, happy events, but they can also come with the added pressure of new responsibilities. So the term stress is used for both negative and positive reactions to a stressor. But a stress response itself isn't always a bad thing, because the good stress and the eustress is generally good for you. When you experience eustress, it's actually usually helping you to perform better. It changes your behavior because it motivates you. It focuses your energy. It's usually short-lived and is always perceived within your normal coping abilities because you rise to the exciting challenge of facing it so easily. It fills you with positive feelings and attitudes, and people tend to cheer you on when good things happen in your life. And it all feels really exciting. In other words, it energizes you to get things done on time and to do them well. It also encourages socialization because the happier you feel, the more social you feel. Eustress can cause increased endorphins, improve your health and your outlook on life. Now you understand that a stress response is a natural and very normal response to a stressor or an abnormal event. In other words, an event that you don't normally experience when everything in your life goes as you would normally expect it to. All of your stress responses are simply your body's way of responding to changes in everyday life that create taxing demands on your normal coping abilities, whether good or bad. But did you know that sometimes you can decide whether the stressor causes you eustress or distress, and that it's largely determined by how you view or feel about that particular event? Your brain does assess things and decide whether the stressor is a threat to you or whether it's safe, but you can override that by finding holistic coping skills that give you control of your response. It's not easy, but it's doable, and over time your brain will follow your lead rather than the other way around. Your perspective, newly learned experiences, and changing your beliefs about stress is what counts. As an example, I was a police officer earlier in my career, and now I work domestically and internationally, responding to disasters, emergencies, and many other critical events that overwhelm people's coping abilities. All of my career has been spent in emergency response of some kind, helping other people. When I first started, I knew nothing about this kind of work. I was nervous, lacked confidence, and found a lot of this stuff stressful in one sense because it was so new to me and I didn't know what I was doing. But I was also so passionate about the work, learning, getting trained, gaining experience, and wanting to help others that I had a constant mix of distress and eustress, all caused by the same events. Now when I'm deployed or asked to deal with something that requires a police background or a disaster response background or a critical care background, I can deal with the situation without any issues. Are disasters scary? Yes, of course they are. But I'm better trained now. I know what to do, where to go, what not to do. I know how to manage a disaster response situation. If someone is in crisis, I know exactly how to care for them, stabilize them, and help them to rise up again to find their own Resurgam moments. That's why I'm so passionate about doing these videos, because I want to equip you to also know that you can rise up again from whatever is stressing you out or holding you back from walking in full health holistically. I'm motivated by being able to help others in traumatic situations. I now have the experience and I've been highly trained, but it wasn't always that way. So my perspective that has changed over time now dictates whether I experience distress or eustress when I'm called up to deploy somewhere or to respond to something. You also have the ability to choose whether something causes distress or eustress to you. It's a very personal response to a stressor, but how you cope with it is based largely on how you interpret that event. Now, to be clear, this week I'm mainly talking about common everyday stresses rather than more serious ones. We will discuss the more serious ones another time because those responses are a bit different. But until then, there are some coping tips that I'm sharing with you today. When you feel your stress levels rising, remember what I've advised you to do in previous videos. Be kind to yourself. Stop. Take time out to breathe. Create space for yourself so that you can listen to your mind, your responses, your body, and your emotions to assess what's going on. Ask yourself why you're reacting the way you are and see if you can view the event that's stressing you out from a different perspective. If you can't, don't worry. But just remember that you have the power within you to decide how to respond. I'm not telling you to ignore your emotions that can rise up and overwhelm you. I know life can get really tough. I always want you to acknowledge the truth about how you're feeling, especially when you're overwhelmed by hardship. But what I am saying is that you need to learn to assess your responses so that you can adjust where necessary and see if you can find ways to manage things differently next time. Ask for help if you need to. Delegate some things to take some things off your plate. Make whatever changes you can so that you can feel more confident in handling the situation well. Do what you can to regain control and empower yourself by finding a way to view the negative situation in a more positive way where possible, and change your distress to eustress. Manage the event and your response to it rather than it managing you. When you become the answer to the potential problem, or you find ways to approach the problem positively, you can change your response from distress to eustress, and you'll be on your way to your own Resurgam experience. Here's this week's Fran's fact. There are 5 signs that may mean you are distressed, telling you that it's time to assess yourself. Your personality changes. You feel anxious or agitated. You may feel like withdrawing and socially isolating. Your self-care routine isn't being utilized. And finally, you haven't taken any time for yourself to assess when you feel overwhelmed or hopeless. If you can relate with any of these, try some of the coping skills I've shared today and in previous weeks. They will help you to rise again. If this has been helpful to you, please leave me a comment below and tell me how. Don't forget to subscribe. The next video will build on this topic with more holistic and proven coping skills. But until then, Resurgam.